Hello and welcome to the Glamptuary podcast, where we talk about the experiential outdoor hospitality industry, and I am your host, Bobby Marsden. In 2024, there was a shakeup in the outdoor hospitality industry. The big hotel chains officially entered the game in a wave of acquisitions, partnerships, and soft brand alliances. Hilton partnered with Autocamp, Hyatt entered into an agreement with Under Canvas, Marriott acquired Postcard Cabins, and Best Western entered into a soft brand agreement with Zion Wildflower in Utah. All this happened in 2024, but this has been in the works for many years. Now, what does this all mean for the outdoor hospitality industry? Our guest on episode 3 is going to shine a light on these big moves. I am excited to talk with Best Western Chief Development and Franchise Officer Brad LeBlanc. He is spearheading Best Western's entry into outdoor hospitality, and he is excited for what the future holds. In this episode, we'll talk about Best Western's philosophy when it comes to soft brand agreements, and we also discuss how the outdoor hospitality industry will be reshaped now that the bigs have entered the game. So buckle up and enjoy episode 3 on season 4 of the Glamptuary podcast. Brad, wonderful to have you on the Glamptuary podcast.
Bobby, good to see you again. I'm so happy to be here today.
Well, Brad, one of the many reasons I wanted to have you on the show, obviously, is your background. You have over 35 years in the business. You've worked in big hotels. You've been, it seems like, in charge of development and growth and foresight and innovation. And recently, obviously, Best Western has gotten involved in the outdoor hospitality industry. Publicly, it's been a recent thing. It might have been happening for a lot longer behind the scenes, but I'm guessing that you love hospitality. You've been in the business for a long time. So I would love to start with, what was your first job in hospitality?
Okay, that goes way back, Bobby. Unfortunately, I'll have to think about that one. Let me tell you how I got into this business. I got into this business, and I think it was the intersection of the right time and the right place and the right everything. I was in college. A friend of mine walked up to me and said, Brad, I took this job at this hotel. I'm called a night auditor. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes, but we need a part-time, somebody that can come in just 2 nights a week, sit at the desk, check people in, check people out, deal with the bar that's downstairs because they come by and they've been drinking too much. And you're just in charge at night. And I'm like, okay, well, how much money do I make? I don't know. I think it was like $5 an hour. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, awesome. I'll do anything for money. So I went to this old Civil War built hotel on the Red River in Alexandria, Louisiana. And I walked in and I go, I've never even seen anything like this. And I got behind the desk and all of a sudden I figured out I just love dealing with people. And I love checking people in and meeting and watching their eyes light up as they see this grand hotel. And I'll tell you, Bobby, it was at that point, I didn't know it quite yet, but it was at that point that the hospitality bug had gotten inside of me. I had been bitten. And 40 years later, I'm still in hospitality, still working with people who check people into rooms every day, still trying to figure out what the next iteration of a guest wants, needs, and expects. And so I love hospitality. I don't think I would do anything else. I did, side note, step out of the hotel world for about 8 years and walked into workspace, co-working spaces. So hospitality focused workspaces where you're not going into an office every day. You're going into call it a work hub where people sit, they gather, they socialize, and they just get inspiration on being together. Mm-hmm. And again, it didn't matter where I went. I just kept bringing hospitality to the table, and I'll never get away from it. I think I'll probably get buried in a hotel room somewhere. I don't know.
Well, you touched on something interesting, in that hospitality can mean many things in many different sectors. There's food trucks, yeah. There's Airbnb, yeah. There's outdoor recreation, there's all kinds of different things. But at least what I found is hospitality is something that permeates everything with an ethos. What would you say hospitality means for you, no matter where it's happening or how it's being delivered?
I think it's that point of service with a smile. It's that point of I care about people more than meeting their need versus myself at that moment.
Hmm.
And ultimately, it's a service culture. It's a service. You, everybody's not great at it. Everybody can be good at it, but everybody isn't great at it. And you know when you check in or get a service at a restaurant or whatever it may be, you know when, wow, that's a hospitality focused person because they made you feel important in that minute and at that second, and they were confirming your purchase decision. And they did it so naturally that it just swept you off your feet. That's what I think hospitality is.
Hmm.
Now, today, it's hard to find sometimes. We go to places where people are overworked. We go to places where people are stressed. We go to places where they just don't have it, and you know when you see it. But I'll tell you, it's not going away. The oldest business in the world is lodging.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe second oldest business in the world. But it is lodging and I will tell you, I'm surrounded in the hotel part of that with thousands of hotel owners that absolutely love to deliver an experience.
Hmm.
Some are great at it, some are only good at it. And those that are great at it make a lot of money at it because the guests say, I'll come back time and time and time again. And you don't even have to have the cleanest room or the best restaurant or the best bar, but it's the service with a smile. It's that service with purpose that brings people back. And at the end of the day, hospitality is all about returning your guest, building repeat business. That's the secret sauce in this business. Once you build repeat, you build cash flow.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great segue into the collections. When I look at Best Western or really a lot of the bigger hotel chains, you'll start to learn that there are a lot of different groupings and collections
Yeah.
within this kind of larger brand.
Let me
So,
introduce Best Western for a second because most people go, I didn't know. That's the
yeah.
most popular thing when I hear. So I've been leader of this development efforts at BWH, we call it Best Western Hotels. We're a family of brands. We have everything in the world from luxury called World Hotels all the way down to economy, Sure Stay brand, all in lodging. And we'll get to some areas that we're branching off shortly, but I will tell you that Best Western is roughly 5,000 hotels around the world. It competes primarily with the Marriott brand, the Hilton brand family, the Choice brand family. And every day I talk to people ask me all the time, what do you do? And I tell them, I'm at your vacation before you ever get there.
Hmm.
And I'm probably there as they begin to, as that, the the physical asset wears on, they have to do something different. I'm back at your place where you're going on vacation. So that's what Best Western is. Best Western is 77 years old. We were originally a reservation point to point along the interstate where, hey, pick up this phone, dial the next Best Western 70 miles away tonight, and it's a direct connection and make your reservation. So it
Got
was
it.
just a referral business along the interstates. Today, it's a global organization, 11 offices. We're in 10 continents. We've got 18 brands spread again from luxury all the way down to economy. And it's a $9 billion organization. People go, I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea that actually that's how it started, point to point, but it makes sense. And I'm imagining it was probably focused on the western part of the United States.
On the
Yep.
West, yeah, on the West. Because it's so funny. I read documents and things that go, oh, well, let's create a Best Eastern. And I'm like, oh, that just even sounds bad. So anyway, but they tried it over the years and different things of iterations. And eventually it came together as one global organization with multiple brands, filling multiple guests at multiple different price points. I mean, that's literally what we do. We want to service your need, whether you're on a honeymoon or you're on a boys' night out in the woods somewhere, whatever that is. We want a hotel room to meet your price point.
Well, it sounds like maybe that's why you decided to move into outdoor hospitality because it's becoming a huge trend, and people are wanting to purchase with purpose. So talk about how you got involved in outdoor hospitality, how you got Best Western involved in outdoor hospitality, and what your current offering is.
Yeah, great question, Bobby. As I look across the global landscape, my job is to build inroads into new, call it revenues, where guests are seeking. So guests are seeking something, and we want to fill what they want and what they need. Outdoor hospitality was always there. I looked at KOA, I looked at different things over the years as literally has just kind of grown up, and I would say only in the past 5 years, maybe 6 years, this new term came up called glamping. And I'm like, what is this? I like this luxury camping. Maybe my wife would want to go with me, something like that, right? And I began to say, why can't we do that? Why can't we take hospitality from a traditional box, 10-story, 5-story, 2-story, whatever that may be, and why can't we move it to an alternative use? Mm-hmm. Whether it be a Airstream, a yurt, dome, whatever it may look like, why can't we deliver our reservations not to a standard box with a restaurant, but why can't we deliver that to a 26 acre, 150 Airstream complex that may have s'mores instead of wine, or may have steaks instead of caviar? Why can't we do that? And that's where it took root. We began to research and talk and look and feel, and I watched other family brands attached to certain brands like Hilton and Marriott. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the direction I want to go. I want to go where our roots are, which is finding a resource for an entrepreneur to be successful. Why can't I take the same owner that in the 80s was looking to figure out the lodging business and plug him into success? Why can't I take the owner, that same entrepreneur today, and give him the resources and equip him and all the things that we bring to the table, so he's a success or she's a success with a 26 acre glamping environment? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think about this, we opened our first at Zion National. Tony Nelson, the owner there, tells me, he goes, Brad, do you know the biggest, and this is over here just a couple hours away in Nevada, Utah. He goes, do you know my biggest source of business? Feeder market? I go, no, what is it? He goes, it's New York City. People leaving the big cities, New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, people leaving the big cities wanting to unplug and not go to something traditional. They want something with some excitement. They want to be on the edge. They want to step out of their cell phone and their computers, and they want to step in an environment that's just quiet. And he goes, now, don't get me wrong. He goes, Mom, Grandma, and Grandpa come, and they want this type of unit. Mom and Dad go, but we want air conditioning and not sleep on the floor, so we'll take this type of unit. And the kids want the covered wagon, so maybe they're sleeping in that type of unit over there. He goes, really, that's who's here. I'm like, Tony, that's our customer. That's who's dialing the 1-800 number still and getting onto .com and using the mobile app. That's our customer. And no matter how we deliver it to you, if I can take you from 60% occupancy to 80% occupancy, that's sheer profit to you. Funny story. And then I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but really funny story. We have a board of directors. Mm-hmm. I go in front of the board, and they're used to looking at this application for a Best Western or this application for an Aiden or a World Hotel or any of our brands. And I put up a tent, much like you see behind me there. And I said, I want to deliver reservations to that. And I said, I don't have to worry about door locks. I don't have to worry about what time the restaurant closes. I don't have to worry about, is there a parking spot? All I have to worry about is getting that consumer into that environment where he's sleeping outdoors under the stars, but in a bed with sheets that are changed daily. And I said, I think we can walk in and make a huge impact to what they're calling outdoor hospitality. And we started it, and I think we signed our second this week in Honduras. I'll know when my international guy walks in the office here shortly. And then I'm working 2 more in the Asia Pacific realm.
Well, that's exciting that you had the foresight and it also sounded like you were listening to what you were hearing from the community and from consumers is here's what we're looking for. And it sounds like you were able to respond to that. When you pitched that to the board, was there any kind of hesitation? Because, I know big brands, they don't move as fast.
Oh my gosh, Bobby, and I'll move fast. Literally, these 7 board directors, they're hotel owners, and they're all hotel owners, many of them multiple brand families. They stood up and they cheered and they go, let's do it. We're returning to our roots and it was for them a refreshing look at how to build the business. Now, you talk to people, I talk to people every day and they're going, how do I do this? What do I do? I have this yearning to create something. I have this piece of land. What do I do? And that's where we come in. There's 15 Brads out there that are all across the United States and the world. And they walk in and they go, here's what you do. Here's the process of taking this land, entitling it, whatever entitlement it may need, working it through the city processes. Here's where you would buy that yurt. Here's where you would buy that. Here's the different types of arrangements you could put in based on the weather, etc. And then they'll say, well, how much money can I make? Well, let me bring in this consultant and this feasibility, because I can tell you, but your bank's going to want to know it from a third-party independent consultant. Mm-hmm. And what type of technology do I need? Well, ironically, we have the largest piece of technology in the world. We check people in and out every day. Through the cloud, I can put this little terminal in your check-in area and it's all done. And they're like, well, how do I clean sheets? And I'm like, we can tell you exactly the sheets to buy. You can buy them at our pricing. And so it just becomes very similar to building a hotel.
Well, you brought up something interesting when you said cleaning sheets. And I hear from many, many operators and providers out there that run outdoor hospitality destinations is that was like the one thing they didn't expect was going to be so much work. What kinds of things that have you learned, just about operations within big hotel? Because I think a lot of best practices can be adopted into that no matter where the destination is or how big or small it might be. There's still certain things that have to happen. What are some of the things that you would say are just the things that you're not thinking about, but you really need to be thinking about?
Look, at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is efficiency, right? So in a traditional hotel, a housekeeper will typically clean, call it 15 to 20 rooms a day, right? She'll spend, call it 18 minutes, 15, 18, 20 minutes in a room. You can do 15 minutes a day with a lunch break, etc. So how do we bring efficiency and focus so you're not doubling your labor to get this clean? And what are the latest modern practices? Today, if you go into a hotel, Bobby, and check in, they say, hey, we'll give you extra points if we don't have to wash your sheets every day. You've heard that.
Yeah.
Right? We can do light housekeeping, just empty the trash, we'll make your bed, but we'll give you extra rewards points in our frequency program if we don't, because then that's a 20-minute saving in labor and etc. So first of all, we bring the processes to the table. Secondly, then what type of soap do we use? I can't go get it at Costco, right? Can I buy it through your procurement arrangements? What type of washer do I use? How do I train my labor? Because I can't do it all myself. So if I have an employee, do you have training modules? And do I come to a class in Scottsdale as a general manager to learn how to do all this stuff? It's yes, 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 yes. And so it's almost just taking your model and plugging it into our system. And knowing that our system is 77 years old and foolproof. Mm-hmm. There's no magic. If you go to any of the other major brand families, they have the same systems, same training, same everything. But it's watching all the different little bitty efficiencies of caring for the room, caring for the customer, caring for the front desk, etc., that add up to the bottom line.
Yeah, it's efficiency, which then allows you to continue to evolve your property. I think if you're stuck in the day-to-day operations, you're going to be stuck there. You're not going to be considering what's next. And so I think it's, as you said, vitally important to figure out how you do that. And it sounds like working with someone like yourself in an organization like Best Western, you can bring some of those practices in and help these people springboard to the next level. And you did mention something very interesting too about loyalty points. Loyalty points obviously have been something that's been around for a long time. I think my first introduction was airlines, soon after that hotels. And it's not something that you find though very often in boutique hotels or these outdoor hospitality one-offs. But obviously in Best Western, you guys have access to that, and you can also apply that to some of the soft brands you have. Can you talk a little bit about the power of loyalty points and why those are important?
So first of all, our rewards program is 75 million big, right? So we have 75 million users out there that like to put that card up, and they stay 2 nights, they earn a free night, whatever it may look like. And we all get those offers every day from airlines and hotels, et cetera. What the average customer doesn't know is when they check into a hotel today, whether it's an independent at the luxury level or the economy level, a lot of the independents are now connecting to the major brand families as independents. Why are they doing that? The same reason the glamping person would want to do that, right? Because there's loyalty. People love their points. People love to spend their points where they wouldn't naturally pay, meaning I've built all these points. I want to go to some grand vacation. I'll use points to do it, but they'll never pay to do it.
Yeah.
And so that loyalty program is an integral part of success to a hotelier or to a glamping owner, et cetera. Now, here's the trick. The question we have to ask ourselves is the Gen Z generation going to be like the boomer generation and addicted to points? You and I used to walk around as a young business traveler and have a wallet full of cards, something in the iPhone today. But will the newer generation of travelers be addicted to those points? That's yet to be seen. But what they are addicted to is experience.
Yes.
They want and insist and demand to do something different in a hotel room, in a tent, in a yurt, whatever it may look like. They want to experience something that their previous generations did not experience. And they'll travel farther to get it to see it. They'll travel farther to stay in it. And they'll pay a lot more money for it.
Yeah, well, I think that goes into they really want to purchase with purpose. They want to know that they're getting a value out of it, but they're also, where's my money going and who's it going to support? I think it's a big thing in Gen Z too.
And speaking of that, right, all of the organizations, including our organization, are very green today, very focused on, the environment, how we protect that environment, the water we use at the hotels, the soaps we use at the hotels, the eggs we use at the hotels. Everything is very sensitive today around the environment. And we as a lodging company have to support that because the newer generations are flooding into that.
Yeah, sustainability is a huge component of longevity. And I think sustainability goes even well beyond what's good for the environment. It's about supporting the communities that you're, getting labor from. It goes. It's so expansive, and I think it's still changing and evolving. People are trying to figure out exactly what the word means, but I think as this industry of outdoor hospitality continues to evolve, I think it's going to help shape what that means, at least from a travel tourism perspective. When you're looking at properties that may potentially be a soft brand for Best Western, what are the things that you look for to have in place to say, okay, I can see this being kind of a quick conversion? Or are there things that you notice that, make you think, what, interesting concept, but maybe not right for us?
Here's what I look for. Number one, is there a willingness of the owner to do what he needs to do or she needs to do? Sometimes there's not. And they fit much better in a hard branded, recognizable, iconic sign than someone who's got more of an entrepreneur spirit. So who's the owner and what's their genetic makeup? I say that tongue in cheek, but that's what you're looking for. Secondly, if I'm looking at a soft brand, whether it be a glamping environment or a the Caribe in Orlando, right, which is middle of Mecca world of hotels. I'm looking for something unique. So I'm looking for something that has all the services behind it. So if I say to you, listen, we're going to go to the luxury level at World Hotels. Well, you're all of a sudden going to expect a spa. You're going to expect a check-in that's seamless. You're going to probably expect that you get a text before arrival that says, "Hey, welcome." And we when you get to the desk, here's a way to quickly check in, etc. Maybe the restaurant, there's two restaurants, maybe there's a cafe and a bar and a restaurant. So you're going to expect different things at different price points. If I take you to the mid-scale level, which is majority of America, right? They're just looking for a clean, tidy experience. I want to stay in something that's safe. I want to stay in something that's, as you said, local, that some owner has brought the local elements into the hotel. I don't even have to go leave the hotel anymore to go experience a local restaurant because the local restaurateur is operating in the hotel. The local art is from the hotel. The theme is from the local community. And that is a very hot topic today, and that's the fast lane.
Yeah.
That's the fast lane. I did an interview just a few weeks ago. I told this hotel crowd, I said, listen, we are going to be shocked in 10 years when we turn around in the hotel world, and you're going to see how many independents there are. You're going to say, where did they all come from? Because today, 90% of America is branded.
Yeah.
Europe, it's actually the opposite, where everything is mainly independent. And it's actually rotating. Europe's going more branded. US, North America call it as rotating to independent. And I love to say this. I love to say you're going to be shocked at how many vanilla boxes are at the corner that are turned into hip, cool boutique places that deliver something different.
Yeah.
And glamping is exactly that. It can tag onto it, get onto that trend and go, if you're looking for an alternative lodging, if you don't want a box, we'll give you a night under the stars.
Right.
If you don't want a room, but you still want a bed, we can give you that. And it's going to look different. It's going to feel different, but you're going to wake up in the morning and go, I didn't know you could breathe such fresh air. And that's what's really cool, right? That's what's really cool. So hang on to your hat because the wave of independent is coming.
When I talk to people in the industry, it's a mixed set of reviews about big hotels coming into what feels like independent. But I oftentimes think that's a good sign because you guys wouldn't be wanting to get into something that doesn't have a future. So that is a great signal that there is a bright future for outdoor hospitality. And I also feel like you guys getting involved is going to bring a set of best practices that are going to make everyone have to raise their bar if they want to continue to excel and deliver that hospitality experience.
100%. I'm glad you said that. What's going to happen at this point? These hotel companies that have, and it could be anybody in the community that have 4, 5, 6, 10 hotels, they have a company that they need to grow. They need to add another hotel or add another revenue source. They're just like you and I, they want to grow, we want to grow. And they're going to see outdoor hospitality as a extension of their hotel portfolio. They really will. I'm not surprised. You wouldn't be surprised that my Zion location, he owns the Best Western Plus 2 towns over. Nice. He does. And so if you think about that, they're just extending their hotel portfolio to different types of hotel arrangements, right? So that's happening. Now, what's going to happen when the mainstream comes in is a lot of this segment will grow up, meaning you're going to go to West Yellowstone and you're going to have 5 options, not 1. You're going to go to, the Poconos, and you're going to have 12 options, not 1. And you're going to have options at different price points. You're going to have a luxury option, an upscale option, and maybe a mid-scale option. And so it will become it will be seamless into the hotel world. And no, they'll all be independently named. unless someone like an under canvas belongs to a certain brand family. Then all of a sudden there's a name recognition factor. I don't necessarily want to do that. We don't want to do that at Best Western World Hotels. What we want to do is make them all independent but affiliated.
Well, I think that supports the ethos of what an entrepreneur thinks. They want to be independent. They want to have a lifestyle. A lot of people are making decisions to do this, not necessarily because they feel it's going to be this massive revenue capture, but they feel like, I want to have a different lifestyle. I've tried it this way. I want to do it this way now. And to that point, a lot of people now are, falling in the money, whether it's through a will because the baby boomers are, going to move on. And so there's a lot of potential out there. There's a lot of people that are wondering, do I want to do my career anymore? Do I want to take another run at something else? And a lot of people are thinking about outdoor hospitality. Do you have any words of wisdom then for any would-be entrepreneurs out there that are going to have an opportunity in front of them, whether they're leaving their career to try something new, whether they're just having a bunch of money, that they now have access to, and they're wondering, how do I decide the next part of my life, realize my dreams, get myself outside? They want to get into hospitality. What piece of advice would you give them?
It's funny. I remember the days when bed and breakfast began to arise back into the scene, and entrepreneurs used to ask there, is this something I should do? And I'm like, are you passionate? If you're not passionate about it, don't do it. If you're passionate about it and you give it everything you've got, you'll find ways to make money from it. And it just happens. So I'm going to tell this group of glamping entrepreneurs, right? The same thing. If you're passionate about hospitality, do it. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have a lot of stops and starts. You're going to have a lot of, well, I thought I was going to do this, but I have to do it this way because some city official said this and this. But figure it out. Keep working it. Push into it. Lean into it. Then past that, what I would say is, don't recreate the wheel. The wheel is created. It rolls great. It moves the car. It gets you where you want to go. You can paint it, put a new hubcap on it and twist it, but it's still a wheel. Mm-hmm. It still has air in it and it's a thick piece of rubber. Don't recreate that. If you recreate, that's where I tell you most people lose. Because they go, I know better than the mainstream successful people. Just mirror the success. So I would say that. Thirdly, de-risk. De-risk means, I know you want to be independent. I know you don't like, you probably are averse to major brands, but use what major brands bring to the table for your success. That's why we decided to put glamping under soft branding and not hard branding. So Bobby, you, the entrepreneur, could step in and go, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it like this, I'm going to do it like this, but I'm going to put this big extension cord in to give it power.
Yeah, there's a great quote that I like to say, don't reinvent the wheel, just realign it.
I love it. That's perfect.
I appreciate you taking the time today to give us a glimpse into the best Western world and how you're going to be able to help shape things, I think, for the better in the outdoor hospitality industry. So I applaud your time and how you're spending it, Brad. And I'm happy that the board saw it your way and gave you that rousing standing ovation of, yes, let's do this.
Bobby, let me just say, first of all, thank you for having me. It is a pleasure and an honor to be with you. You know more about this business than I know about this business. I'm learning as we go. So thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your show today. I will tell you, my world is yours. So we're friends. Come in if you need any resources or information or any tentacle into someone else that I know, please let me know. It's a small world. I will tell you, I will end with this though. This is going to be an incredible movement across North America. It's already a much larger movement across the world. There's more glamping worldwide than there is. We're just a fraction in North America. But I will tell you this, when organizations like Best Western and Marriott and Hilton get a hold of it, we are going to raise its awareness and bring it to another level that it's going to be an incredible thing. It really is. Now, where the bigs come in, sometimes they hurt things, and I don't want that to happen. So we're going to stay independent. We're going to stay completely. But I tell you, it's guys like you that see it well before we saw it. And so I'm gonna come over to your office and figure out just where I go and how we grow this thing. So thank you, Bob.
Well, let's do it together. That's the mentality, right?
No, thank you. Appreciate it, man. This was awesome. I actually loved today. Loved it.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Bob.
I want to thank Brad for all the great info and candid perspective on the big hotel chains and what their entrance into outdoor hospitality really means. Raising the bar on service and operations is a great thing for both independent owners and consumers. And if you'd like to learn more about what Best Western and Brad are up to, you can check out their website, which is www.bestwestern.com, and search for the World Hotels Crafted Collection. And if you'd like to follow us on the Glamptuary podcast, you can do so on our website, which is www.glamptuary.com. That is www.glamptuary.com. You can also follow us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora Podcasts, and YouTube. Wherever you like to get your podcasts, we just ask that you follow, and we thank you for doing so. We'll see you down the trail on the next episode. Until then, be well.